Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another video, and today we need to talk about some killer guitars. And you might be like, okay, cool, awesome guitars, sounds good, but like, come on, no need for the clickbaity suspense, let's just get to it. What guitars are we talking about? Nah, you misunderstand me. The literal name of the company we need to talk about is Killer Guitars. Now, just hold on a second. Before you click away, I know the name sounds like some sort of hard luck king-styled, edgy, no posers allowed budget brand, and yeah, the names and shapes are pretty crazy. However, hear me out on this one because the story behind them is even crazier than the shapes are. While I just learned about them, Killer Guitars is actually quite a respected brand and is seemingly well known, but only in their native Japan. Outside of Japan, it's like no one's even heard of them, which is kind of strange given just how popular they seem to be. My buddy Andrew Bana said when he went to Japan last year, Killer Guitars were in all the shops, right alongside the most internationally known Japan-only brands like Edwards, like Tokai. Now, full disclosure with that anecdote, Bana's eyes don't work properly because he only sees metal guitars. I'm pretty convinced at this point his brain literally refuses to interpret light that reflects off anything even remotely Les Paul shaped. So maybe Killer Guitars were some of the only ones he could even see in the store, but we move. Anyways, point is, they were Killer Guitars in not just one or two, but in shops all along Tokyo's famous guitar street. And it's not like Killer Guitars are just doing generic Les Paul or Strat copies, these wild shapes and unhinged names. So they're not uncommon, and they're also very not subtle. And yet, outside of Japan, it's like no one knows they exist. So that's strange, but even stranger, it turns out that Killer Guitars are essentially kind of a secret ESP Guitars brand. Like, what? What the fuck? And not only is ESP directly involved, but Killer Guitars was also apparently started by a living guitar legend? Like, what is going on? Who are these guys? Why has no one heard of them? This does not make sense. But because they have this popular non-existence, not that this is my personal favorite shape, but you see why these are exciting. Even new, but especially used, there are quite a few very tempting listings for high-end ESP Japan crafted guitars. This has all the markings of another hidden gem Schecter Japan type situation. That is a very promising sign. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So before the contradiction of this wild, well-known, unknown brand completely melts my brain, I figured I'd turn on the camera and we can descend down the Killer Guitars rabbit hole and into madness together. I'm confused and scared and I need an adult. Nah, but like, we need to figure out what's going on here. Some of these are just crazy guitars and that's always fun. So let's take a look at the full lineup. But also, I mean, a secret ESP brand? What's the full story with Killer Guitars? And are Killer Guitars really the hidden gems that they seem to be? So smack a like on the video if you're going to enjoy it. That actually massively helps curry the favor of the mysterious and moody YouTube algorithm. That actually helps the channel out more than you might realize. And with that, let's take a closer look at what is going on with Killer Guitars. All right, so we're on the Killer Guitars site. Damn, those are some pointy guitars. So many angles. It's like the Smash Bros. Polygon team. So we're gonna start with the Exploder because this seems to be their most popular shape. It's the one that Bana saw everywhere in Japan, and it's the one that pops up the most online. Starting with the standard base tier KG Exploder 2, we'll get into specs, but from an initial glance, Killer's made in Japan production models seem pretty reasonably priced. I must have been fully distracted by the sea urchin resemblance, but now that we're here taking a proper look, there are definitely things happening here. We have to start somewhere. So, bro, what is this tutor layout? What did that one tutor do to deserve being banished from the group? It's like, nope, you can't sit with us. Nah, it's even facing the other way. Dude, that tutor's a lone wolf. Actually, it's pretty metal. Total nonconformist. It's just funny because already 5 and 1 would look weird even if it was facing the right way, and it's just not, because at that point, fuck it, I guess. They've literally taken 6 inline tuners and just slapped one on the other side. Amazing. And then, dude, what? Random Strat output jack, recessed into the back of the body, upside down. Hang on, actually, for looping your cable around the strap, it looks absolutely fucked, but does that actually make a ton of practical sense? It does. This guitar is breaking my brain. Whoa. Hang on, not just the jack, everything is recessed into the body. I mean, recessed controls are pretty common, even though it is kind of funny you've got a random Stratocaster jack on one side and then just a random single Les Paul style speed knob on the other. But even the pickup rings are recessed? Dude, What? That's custom shop level shit. Like, it looks really cool, and it's the cleanest way to get a classic aesthetic with a modern, sleek, low profile, but additional detailed routing that has to fit almost perfectly. It's probably the least efficient, most time-consuming way of doing things. So you see it on ESP's exhibition series, their annual flex of $20,000 one-off master builds, but you never see it on current production guitars. Legit, I can't think of any other production series that have recessed pickup rings as a standard feature. Most brands don't think it's worth the effort. Very interesting, very, very cool. Wait, semi-deep insert joint with a total of 5 points? What?
A few moments later.
So you've got the 4 bolts on one side, like a normal bolt-on, and then kind of what's going on with the tuners, under the neck pickup, you've got another bolt securing the neck to the body from the opposite direction. Basically a long tenon bolt-on. They say the joint area between the neck and body is larger, so the sound can be extended more. Basically you're saying more resonance, more sustain, and also no neck shift. I've never seen that before. Cool. Oh, maybe that's kind of the thinking behind recessing the pickup rings as well. Like, you're making the pickup rings part of the body, so in theory, more resonance and sustain? Dude, that's crazy. These things look like dumb caveman metal-ass metal guitars, but under the hood, a lot of interesting ideas going on. 45mm thick maple body, which is apparently 2mm thicker than the previous one. Dude, Japanese brands are crazy. The level of attention that they put to even like these super small details, I don't know how many people would actually notice a 2mm difference, but to them it was important enough to highlight as a key difference from the previous generation, so the obsession with perfection from guitar makers out of Japan, man. Love it. Hard maple neck and fingerboard, and the pickups are Killer's original LQ500 and LZ510 Dynabite. Cool little mini Killer Guitars logo on the bobbins. People seem to really like them. Apparently they're genuinely really good high-end pickups, and it looks like the SEs are their affordable imports. What do you think SE stands for, by the way? You think it also stands for Student Edition? PRS, Killer Guitars, pretty similar vibes, pretty much the same company. Or maybe Special Edition? Let the series name do a lot of the marketing heavy lifting for the affordable guitars. I love BC Rich Bronze Series. Oh my god, I hate it. By contrast, the Sunburst Exploder looks relatively classy. Oh, actually, you know what? I figured it out. Because this is a stripped down, streamlined Exploder, it's in all likelihood the Sploder edition. Streamline the guitar, streamline the name, really embrace the spirit. That was literally so fucking stupid. We move. All right, what do you get or what do you lose with the affordable version? The pickups are originals. Okay, Google Translate, any more details? It says the pickups are original models. Sick, okay, thank you. Bridge is the Floyd Rose Special. Okay, dude, what? Even the affordable tier Exploder has the same 5-point semi-deep insert joint and recessed pickup rings as the higher end model. And the body's even 45mm thick. Again, something that was very important for them to highlight. But the point is, no simplification, no artificial differentiation in the build design. That's genuinely impressive. A proper Exploder and all its niche signature features at half the price. And judging by the identical sticker and identical serial font, I'd guess these are produced in the same facility that does ESP's well-regarded Grassroots brand. That makes these very interesting mod platforms. Now, every time I talk about Japanese guitars, there are always comments like, okay, these are cool, but why are we even talking about Japanese guitars if we can't even get them? Japan is halfway across the world, I don't speak the language, I don't even know how to even figure out who to talk to, and yeah, going at it alone is very overwhelming, but it's actually way easier to get exclusive guitars from Japan than you might think. And the easiest and most stress-free way is through a Japan-based shopping proxy service like Zen Market. Massive thanks to them for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so here's how it works. Say you found a guitar in Japan that you want, just send them the listing, and yep, that's it. You're good. Zen Market handles everything else from there. Consider them like your trusted friend on the ground who knows guitars. They buy the guitar in Japan on your behalf, do a thorough inspection to make sure there's no damage and nothing's missing, professionally and securely repack it for international travel, then ship it straight to your door. It's that simple. Zen Market handles all the logistics, giving you complete peace of mind about buying a guitar from literally the other side of the world, all without needing to know a single word of Japanese. And I love Zen Market's guitar-specific expertise. They're even the official shipping partner for Digimart, Japan's largest music instrument marketplace that all the most reputable shops list their guitars on. You've already seen a lot of Digimart whenever we talk about Japanese guitars on the channel, because whether it's new releases, limited edition runs, sought-after vintage models, or baffling yet intriguing designs, Digimart makes it easy to find what you're looking for, or to stumble upon something you didn't even know you needed. So if you're looking to snag that vintage lawsuit guitar, a fully scalloped budget Strat, an obscure Schecter Japan model, the new Sakura Miku ESP, all of the above, or any other Japan exclusive, with the historically favorable exchange rate that works as a double discount, now's a great time to let Zen Market do all the hard work for you. Click my special link in the description and use code AGUFISH when you're creating your free account to get an exclusive 1,000 bonus Zen points, which can be used for 1,000 yen off international shipping. Link will also be in the pinned comment. Huge thanks to Zenmark for sponsoring the video and for hooking our community up. Just don't forget to use code AGUFISH when you're signing up for the best deal on your new awesome guitar from Japan. And getting back to guitars you didn't even know you needed, definitely not me projecting, let's dive deeper into the world of Japanese guitars. Okay, what about going the other direction in the lineup? At the custom shop level, is there a reason the Prime has its own name and category? As I understand it, the KG Prime is their flagship model. It's the signature guitar, or rather signature shape, for Akira Takasaki, which is why it's also got his signature Seymour Duncan Thunder in the East pickups. And if you have no idea who that is, do not worry. We are going to talk plenty about Akira Takasaki in a second, because he is very important to this story. Floyd Rose original clearly looks fancier with the figured maple fingerboard. On the back, it's got a more sculpted neck joint, maple back body with an alder top. Interesting combo. The Exploders had semi-deep inserts, but what is deep insert? Oh, it's like an extra long tenon bolt-on joint. Instead of stopping under the neck pickup, the neck is cut so it wraps all the way under and around. And so that gives you a ton more neck and body surface area contact, you know what I mean? Even compared to the semi-deep insert, more resonance, more sustain. Chugs last longer. That's the theory. Oh, look at that. They were considerate enough to make an acrylic Iceburn Prime, so we could literally see exactly how these are put together. That's actually sick. But okay, so on these, they don't need that fifth bolt, because it's the actual pickup and pickup ring that are doing the job of securing the neck to the body from the opposite side. That's pretty cool, man. And also, this guitar in particular, the transparent volume knob, the transparent control plates, even transparent pickup rings, plus whatever magic they've worked for the wiring, even compared to other custom shop builds. Tell me that's not straight up the cleanest acrylic guitar you've ever seen. This is the best example for how to do it. Crazy attention to detail. Yeah, I don't know. Other than establishing dominance, I'm stumped as to why this has its own category. And then we've got... oh my god. Okay, so killer guitars do have more traditional style guitars in the lineup. Nah. Violator Deacon? There's definitely a joke in there, but I'm not touching that. Unlike, well, you know, we move. Wait, what the hell? This is no normal Strat. The more you look at it, the more cursed it gets. That upside down Strat jack is... it looks so wrong, even though for the same reason as with the Exploder, makes total sense. It actually makes more sense than the traditional orientation when you think about it. Then the squish control layout, seems they also got annoyed with just how in the way Strat volume knobs are. Instead of just chucking one of the pots out like I did, they've just nudged everything down so you don't lose the dual tone controls. Again, it looks very wrong, but it actually makes sense. But this headstock though, nah. No way. The 5-in-1 tuner layout on a Strat for absolutely no reason besides just full commitment to one of the most unhinged signature design features I've ever seen. That's incredible. Oh, they've even got the semi-deep 5-point insert joint as well. Dude, their own unique twist on the classic Strat using their most iconic signature design features. I'm telling you, this company's basically PRS. This goes levels beyond the Silver Sky though. No SE violators? Kind of interesting, right? Because a lot of brands will try and cast a wide net with affordable versions of their relatively traditional style guitars to attract new and especially younger players. Not these violators though. Unlike, well, you know, we move. That's amazing. You know how like most companies, when they've got like a Strat inspired guitar in the line, they're like, oh, this is our ST or this is our S-type. Meanwhile, over at Killer Guitars, fucking Violator. That's incredible. They're Strats. Why is it so aggressive for no reason? Violator doesn't even start with S. There's not even an S in the word. It's so completely nonsensical. phenomenal. Harley Benton should do that. Like, come on guys, just because you're German doesn't mean the names have to be so dry and boring. And then, oh holy shit, they should definitely not do this one though. Never mind guys, keep doing what you're doing, no notes. Oh my god, why? Oh good, there's an affordable SE for youth indoctrination. And again, all of these, even the affordable SE, 5.7 deep insert joint, recessed pickup rings, all the core killer DNA. Impressive. Reversed 5-in-1 headstock looks somehow even more unhinged. Fascinator. It's pretty funny. Oh, that's cool. They've routed an empty battery cavity into the body, just in case you feel like swapping in active pickups later at any point. I actually love that idea. You can tell proper guitar nerds designed this. Intentional design that encourages tweaking and modding. Dude, I actually wish more affordable guitars came with this feature. That'd be awesome for modding. This is potentially ill-advised, but they can kind of get away with it. Could you imagine if this brand was from a predominantly English-speaking country? Instantly canceled. Straight to the gulag. I guess, in fairness to the fascists? Nah. Nope, wait, that sounds so bad out of context. What I mean to say is, in a very crowded metal superstrap market, these stand out. I will remember these. Credit where credit is due, I guess. Oh, what are these? Spellbind and Galaxy. Metal non-reverse Firebirds? Non-reverse Firebirds are just not pleasant looking, so I never would have thought of that, but metal versions? Weird? But kind of cool. And there are no 2 pickup models? They all have triple pickups? Killer guitars apparently do not miss a chance to be unhinged for no reason. Nor should they, because these are awesome. Good God. Look at this 7-string. That's sick. Triple humbucker, Floyd-equipped Paisley reverse Firebird? Where Fender chicken out, the absolute chads at Killer just go for it. Oh. Iridescent Paisley too? No, yeah, sure, of course it is. Why the hell wouldn't it be? What an insane concept. Who even comes up with a combo like this? Wild. I love it. That's pretty creepy. Oh, Jesus, that's not a graphic? I hate that. That's so creepy and so impressive. I hate it so much. Fuck right off. Nicely done. Oh, even the Triumph Vs have triple pickups? Nice. And the last shape in the current lineup is the Marquis. I don't like it. It's like they've taken an ESP Eclipse and combined it with an Ibanez Fireman, and the results are truly upsetting. That being said, HSH is pretty uncommon in a carved top set neck, and even with high-end specs, Godot, Seymour Duncan, I've seen these listed for some of the best prices out of any of the Killer lineup. And one of the main side missions for this channel is to make as much content on as many single cuts from as many brands as possible, regardless of visual objectionability. So if another one pops up at this price, I might have to do it, you know. Listen, babe, it's a matter of professional responsibility and journalistic integrity. Yeah. Actually, you know what? The more I look at it, like, it's clearly Les Paul Custom inspired, but at the same time, it's so interesting and different. Wait, actually in this picture, it looks kind of sick. I wouldn't mind it. Dude, I legit thought from how pointy these guitars are that we were just gonna be looking at Ooga Booga caveman brain metal guitars. Instead, I was not prepared for this. A lot of smart and interesting ideas pieced together with this overall unapologetic quirkiness. These Killer guitars have like a refined, janky but functional DIY mod project vibe going on. And given how Killer guitars came into existence, that actually kind of makes sense. So let me explain. Let me put these into context for you. Now, it was an absolute pain in the ass, but so worth it, because what I've managed to piece together from various Japanese guitar sites and potato quality scans of vintage guitar magazines, Killer Guitars has the wackiest, most amusing origin stories I've ever heard. And it's also surprisingly wholesome. I don't know what I was expecting, but the actual story is way better. So what happened? How did Killer Guitars get started? And how did ESP get involved? Well, Killer Guitars kind of happened by accident. So the name comes from a play of words on a combination of the co-founders' names, Akira Takasaki and his guitar tech, Ichizo Araki. Put them together, play around with it, it forms Kira. And that kind of sounds like killer in English. And you know what? Slightly cheesy or not, wordplay in your non-native language that's relevant and pretty accurately represents the wild vibe of these guitars, you kind of have to respect it. Now, Akira Takasaki is a bona fide Japanese guitar legend. In 1981, he co-founded The Loudness, Japan's contribution to the 80s heavy metal scene. They even became the first Japanese band to ever play Madison Square Garden, opening for Motley Crue on the Theater of Pain tour. And I don't know what I was expecting, but this is properly 80s. Holy shit, these guys look like they're having so much fun. Now, before The Loudness, in 1973, he'd started another quite successful pop rock band with some classmates called Lazy. And during this era, he found Electric Sound Products, because when ESP opened in 1975, it was one of the very first professional repair shops in Japan. At that time, they only built guitars under the Navigator brand, and when Akira Takasaki came in for repair work, he fell in love with the Random Star. He and ESP altered the design to his specifications, and while at first it was offered as a standard production model in the Navigator lineup, the association became so strong it was later redesignated as his ESP signature. There have been multiple variations, but it's still in the lineup today, so does that technically make it the longest running signature in the lineup? Either way, here's ESP's 1981 catalog, and the quality is not great, but I'm pretty sure that's our dude right there. Akira Takasaki's essentially been a day one ESP homie. While researching all this, I've actually come up with a crazy theory. You wanna hear it? I don't know why I asked that, I'm gonna tell you anyways. Okay, so April 6th, 1985. The Hollywood Palladium on Sunset Boulevard. Doors open at 7:30, but the scheduled special guest band, Warrior, drops out. And this is the moment. My crazy theory is that if Warrior never drops out, ESP doesn't become the massive brand that it is today, because the band that replaces them for that special guest spot is none other than Dokken, and one George Lynch who, frustrated with Chravell and Kramer, was actively looking for a new endorsement. And they're now going to play a Thunder in the East, Tour in the West show with The Loudness, featuring one Akira Takasaki shredding the shit out of this bright red star-shaped ESP. I'm gonna guess that may have caught George Lynch's attention. And from that moment, things just explode for ESP. Only a few months later, George Lynch ends up visiting the ESP workshop in Japan. 1986, right in the middle of Dokken's Platinum Album era, they launched his signature Kamikaze, a pivotal moment in ESP's emergence. Visibility in the West practically skyrockets overnight. The growing buzz amongst Western players starts attracting other big artists. Metallica, Kirk Hammett, and James Hetfield get involved about a year later. The brand has so much momentum, ESP establishes their US headquarters to become a permanent international powerhouse of a guitar brand. And this whole chain of events was set in motion because Warrior dropped out of that show. So that's my crazy theory, but maybe not so crazy. Certainly not as crazy as the 461,985% of viewers who have not subscribed. See what I did there with the numbers? Maybe only if you're American, but if you're enjoying the content, here's your quick reminder to subscribe if you haven't already. We just passed 225,000 subscribers, which is, I mean, how did this happen? But it's incredible. So thank you guys so much. Let's see if we can get to 250,000. Anyway, so Akira Takasaki, very integral figure in ESP's early history. Things are going well, vibes are great, they want to keep working together, but the affectionately named Eddie Van Halen of the East was also a compulsive tinkerer. He wanted to mess around with specs and experiment with more extreme shapes, but at that time, with how rapidly ESP was growing, they literally just didn't have any resources to dedicate towards passion projects that even Akira Takasaki didn't think there was a market for. So as a solution, Akira Takasaki independently founded Killer Guitars in 1987, pretty much for his own amusement. I guess you could generously call it a niche custom shop boutique brand. In reality, guitar production was pretty much just his guitar tech building guitars on an individual basis for the main and de facto only customer, Akira Takasaki. In the early days, there was the occasional outside order, but Killer Guitars was intentionally barely a real company, so as not to compete with ESP. That meant it was business as usual with ESP, he was still a signature artist, and he had this little side project to scratch that creative itch. It's a smart plan that quickly fell apart because of Taiji Sawada. See, this dude was rockstar as fuck. He somehow got connected with Killer Guitars and started using them in 1989 when he was the bassist of ESP Japan, who are the biggest Japanese rock band of all time. I mean, 30 million worldwide record sales, that's not bad. And the bass quickly became a fan favorite, so even though they were still very niche, very expensive, and had this divisive extreme shape, Killer still figured maybe there was enough demand to warrant a limited production run. So in 1992, at the peak of ESP Japan's powers, they announced the KB Impulse. Killer Guitars were not ready. In preparation, Killer Guitars had ramped up the production a bit. In a good month, they could now produce about 30 guitars total, but they quickly realized they might be in trouble because not only did pre-orders start flying in, but on just one single order from one store, 300 impulse bases. So they're like, well, shit. What do we do? This is a problem. At our current capacity, if we do nothing but bases, it's gonna take years. So it seems like at this point, they went to ESP and were like, hey, remember that little side project that wasn't supposed to become a real guitar company? Yeah, so we fucked up on that. It's kind of too successful. And I assume ESP was like, wait, the things that we said no to, people actually wanted to buy those? The things that, like, even you didn't think would sell? There are how many orders for those? So they end up forming this partnership where the original co-founders of Killer Guitars, they kept doing what they were doing because that was working. They still run the company, they still have the full creative control over the guitar designs, and ESP took over the production and distribution at scale. And that's how Killer Guitars accidentally became a real guitar company. Whoops. Oh yeah, and all the while he was accidentally successfully creating the first influencer guitar brand decades before Wild Audio or even EVH guitars, Akira Takasaki has remained a staple in ESP's domestic roster. True day one homie. I mean, he started playing ESP before they were even putting ESP on the headstock. So not only does he have his own brands with its own catalog, over the span of 50 years, he's now got one of the largest and most iconic ESP Japan signature collections as well. It seems at this point he's practically been granted the Random Star as his signature shape. Like, look at this. It's not ESP Akira Takasaki signature Random Star. It's literally just ESP Random Star. That's like same status as James Hetfield's Snakebite. Oh, and he also has this, it's either an apparel line or a hot sauce brand that's sold out of a loudness-themed car repair garage or something. I don't even know. Like, what is even happening at this point? Absolute legend. Sounds sick, actually. I would totally go out of my way to get my tires changed at this place. And it seems like Killer continue to follow pretty much the exact same approach and design process for the guitars. It seems they'll just experiment with custom builds, either for Akira Takasaki himself or for one of his artist friends. So for every guitar, there's direct artist involvement with the design. However wacky and wild, apparently especially if it's wacky and wild because the brand was started by mad guitar scientists, pretty much nothing is off the table. The sole focus is on whatever ideas the artist wants to play with. And at the end of the process, if they happen to create something that people actually want to buy, then they'll figure out something to put into production. Think about that for a second. Treating a guitar design that they can actually sell to anyone as a nice bonus is wild for a guitar company. But it works. It works because when you've got a brand that's essentially a part of the extended ESP family where every guitar is basically a signature model for Eddie Van Halen of the East and his guitar playing homies, it means every guitar in the lineup is gonna have a story. Luke Takamura of Seikei Matu, Japanese heavy metal Guar, I guess, aka Staff General Luke Takamura III. I'm trying my best, man, but I'm struggling with these names of the military authorities in the ancient, but also somehow futuristic and hyper-evolved Makai demon dimension. He was involved with the Spellbinds, with the Galaxies, with the Triumphs, and apparently a whole bunch of others. The Fashionator, the only model officially listed as a signature on the site, that guitar was created for Saki, best known for her work with Mary's Blood and Nemophila, two of the most prominent bands in Japan's all-girl metal scene. The Marquis and associated Baron shapes were designed with and for the late Koji, guitarist in Lacrima Christi, considered one of the big four of 90s visual K bands. That's a whole nother thing that we're just not gonna get into right now. The Wishbone V was designed with Tatsu of Gastunk, an influential band in the 80s Japanese hardcore punk scene. Turns out the Wishbone evolved from the older Armed V, where the fingerboard was scalloped for the high strings from the 12th fret up. Nice. Sounds like something Killer Guitars would do. And actually, the Wishbone was introduced when they were phasing out these insane flying Ys created for Miyavi, now a major Fender artist. Actually, we skipped over this one at the beginning, but the Wishbone V is one of my favorites. Modded metal spec, classic 70s V, EMGs, Floater's original, super tempting secondhand prices. Killer's signature semi-deep 5-point insert joint, although I guess they were having an off day and put an equal amount of tuners on each side of the headstock. It's pretty funny, a Flying V is one of the most restrained in Killer's lineup, but like, you see how easy it is to get sucked deep down this rabbit hole? The amount of lore is nuts, and if I were to go into all of it, this video would be like 4 hours long. So definitely let me know in the comments if you want more videos on Killer Guitars, because we barely scratched the surface of their generally unhinged catalog. But for now, I think that's a good place to end this video. So there you go, and I realize you guys just found yourselves on the receiving end of a giant info dump. But I hope you found the story of Akira Takasaki's early history with ESP as amusing as I did. Dude may have unintentionally done the Lord's work on April 6th, 1985, which then meant ESP didn't have the resources for his wacky experiments, which led him to then unintentionally create this fairly successful guitar company. I mean, personally, I'm embarrassed that I'd never heard of him and his guitars before. I'm so sorry, because what a fucking legend. And also, I don't know who Warrior is, but thank you for not showing up. And sometimes there'll be cranky comments on the video, like, why do you talk so much? Shut the fuck up. We just want to look at guitars. Which, given how long I've been filming, they may have a point. But personally, I feel like both with guitars, but also in general, the story is so important. Like, think about listening to a song for the first time, and you have that initial reaction of, oh, that's a sick riff, or that's a really catchy chorus, versus listening to a song when you know the meaning behind certain lyrics, or the inspiration for why the song was written. Completely different levels of appreciation. Context is everything. Well, not everything, but you know what I mean. It makes a huge difference. Because I'll tell you, my initial reaction to these killer guitars was straight up, wow. I don't know what's going on, but I don't fuck with any of that. But now that I know the context of how this company came to be, like, can you imagine that conversation? They come to ESP and are like, I am so sorry. We accidentally created this pretty successful business and we need your help. I mean, I still think they're ugly and unhinged, but I have an appreciation for them. Literally no interest before, and now I kind of want one. Anyways, that's more than enough rambling from me. Here's where I'll throw it to you. What do you think of these killer guitars? You love them? You hate them? Kind of both? Did you have a similar experience to mine where now you've got this newfound respect for killer guitars and or 80s Japanese metal? Any and all thoughts, drop them down below. And if you're now inspired to browse Digimart for killer guitars or anything else from the wild and wacky world of Japanese guitars, don't forget to use my Zen Market link below for that exclusive sign-up bonus. Massive shout out to my amazing Patreon supporters. You guys make the channel what it is, so thank you. If you'd like to see your name up there and get bonus extras, consider directly supporting the channel by becoming a patron as well. Social media, merch, and affiliate links you can bookmark to support the channel are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I will see you for the next video.